Good morning, and welcome to the Weekly Trail Report. The Weekly Trail Report, Episode 8, the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis's way of getting you in tune and in touch with all the events and activities taking place in the Watershed Trail region of Port Jervis. I'm your host, Tom Faggione. We're here every Friday morning, 7 a.m., recording this live on Facebook and also on YouTube as we talk about the events and activities around the Watershed Park region. Joining me every Friday morning, of course, the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis president, Mike Ward, and our show would not be complete if we did not have, of course, our good buddy Chip. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to Episode 8 of the Outdoor Report, or the Weekly Trail Report, sponsored by the Outdoor Club. Hi, guys.
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Chip.
Good morning.
Great to have you guys here again for Episode 8 of the Outdoor Club's Weekly Trail Report. And the greatest thing about it is we are on Facebook Live right now. The first person to join in, the mayor of the city of Port Jervis, Kelly Decker. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Mr. Decker.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. How's that autograph holding up?
Of course, we'll talk about Chip and his autograph prowess in just a little bit this morning. But we are on Facebook Live, and we are also on YouTube. We're recording this as well for posterity, so you can listen to this any time of the day you'd like, as we'll get you up to speed on the events and activities taking place in the Watershed region of Port Jervis. Kelly Decker says that the autograph picture is framed.
Oh, awesome. I have to stop by and see that. I really would love to see that.
And big shout out to everybody that's listening in, including my good friend Marcia. Marcia, good morning to you. Marcia, for the longest time, was a small business owner here in town. She owned Snips and Tails, and she loved my dog Roscoe and took great care of him, so it's good that she's listening in. Good morning, Marcia.
Good morning, Marcia.
And Marcia says she was the first, not the mayor, to listen in this morning, so
all right.
That's all good.
Isn't it exciting that people are just chomping at the bit to hear us?
No doubt about it. So, guys, it is week 8 of our new thing here, our internet thing, as we talk about the events and activities taking place in the Watershed region of Port Jervis. So, guys, before we start our show, we usually have a little pre-show prep work where we talk about things that are going on and activities. So, guys, first things first, let's get a quick trail report. And, Mike, you're always great at that. Can you give us a conditions report, situation report as to the conditions on the trails in the Watershed region of Port Jervis?
As everybody's seen, the leaves are coming down in full force right now, and things are slippery. Especially in these rains. I just got a warning overnight saying that we're going to have strong winds all today and all tomorrow, which is going to bring down a lot more leaves. And just be careful when you're out there in these high winds. Always be aware that things can come down, dead limbs, leaves are coming down, but also watch your footing especially, because those leaves can get slippery with this wet.
Absolutely.
So we're dealing with some conditions. You got wet conditions, but that wind tomorrow, the high wind warning for tomorrow, if anyone's planning on going out there, what precautions should people take, Mike?
Just be very, very alert to all your surroundings. And, the trees are tall, and you're not going to see some of those limbs coming down. Just be aware. Things do come down in these high winds. Rare that you'll see a big tree come down unless it's extremely high winds, but there are a lot of dead limbs up there, and usually the limbs are held up by the foliage, with all the leaves up there. It will hold the dead limbs up, but now with the leaves coming down, so will the limbs. Just be very careful when it's windy out there. We get a couple of these strong winds, and then you'll be good pretty much for the rest of the year.
All right, I'm getting into the screenshot
here.
Come
on.
Hey, there he is. Yeah. Look at that. He does exist.
So
he really does exist.
One of the things that we've always been working on here is we're trying to make this show better and better all the time. And last week I was at the train show at the Port Jervis High School, and I saw our good buddy Bill Schill. And
Bill Schill, he's a great guy.
Bill Schill's a great guy. And so Bill was talking about the show as I shuffle over here, and his complaint was, he said, "Well, we don't get a chance to see you."
It wasn't a complaint, Tom. It was a professional critique.
Come on, he wants to see me. That sounds like
a
complaint to me. So I'm joining the fray now, as you can see me here on Facebook Live.
There he is.
So now I'll have to turn my head this way to talk to you guys. But it's always good to get in touch with Bill Schill.
Who's a great guy, by the way, Bill Schill.
Yeah, Bill's good people. And he was at the train show last Saturday at the Port Jervis High School. And I went down there and I took a look around. And,
yeah, we did too.
So
Yeah.
it was good because, the outdoor club isn't just so much about the events taking place on the trails, but the outdoor club is heavily involved in our community as well. Every time I am in the public and I talk to people, there's always a few things about Port Jervis I always talk about. First and foremost, I always talk about the trails and how great they are and to come out and check them out. And then I highlight some of our great businesses in our community and tell them to come to Port Jervis. You can get a good bite to eat. You can drink a craft beer. And you can do some shopping here in our community. And it's a great little town. And so anytime I go anywhere, I try my best to represent the club. So today I'm representing the club with my outdoor club sweatshirt on.
Looks great on you, Tom. Look at that.
Chip's wearing one as well.
I was going to wear one, but it was dirty.
Oh, no.
I took a fall yesterday.
Oh.
So I have a lot of mud on it.
Well, Mike, you're still in recovery from your neck surgery. I don't like to hear you're taking falls.
No,
bro.
it was okay. It was okay.
So three segments of the show that we try to do every week, and the first thing we do is talk about the conditions of the trails, and we kind of touch base on that just a little bit. But tying into the conditions as well, Mike, are the conditions that maybe you should prepare for as a hiker or someone that's on a mountain bike as you enter into the trails. This time of year, it's fall.
Yes.
And, the fall means it's a beautiful time to get out and go hiking and biking. The weather is perfect. It's cool, so you're not worried so much about sweating to death out there. But there's other precautions, not so much precautions, but just things you should be mindful of as you head out on the trails. And we can talk about that right now, Mike.
Yep. In the kiosk, you'll see that I'm going to start posting the warnings, and that is warning that hunting is never allowed in the watershed. But for all the users of the watershed, it's always of good mind to put on safety colors when you're out there, just to be safe. We've had no issues, knock on wood, for the last couple of years, but it is worth wearing your safety orange, safety red, safety green, whatever you have that'll make you stand out against the dark browns of the woods. And you'll feel much better when you're out there. And Tom saying, continue along. Yeah,
Stretch it out.
Other than the safety factors of just being out there, we've had no incidences out there, thank God. But do be careful out there. Wear bright colors when you're out hiking, when you're out running, biking, and also it helps animals. Remember that this time of year, animals are feeding a lot, so you will see a lot more animals. Boy, have I seen them the last week or two.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed, especially, and I'm guilty of it too, is a lot of people that like to go hiking. Technology is great nowadays. You throw your phone in a backpack or you put it in your pocket, and you have your headphones, even these wireless headphones. So a lot of people that are on the trails have headphones on. Either they're listening to music or a podcast. Maybe they're listening to our podcast as they're out hiking. So having that visibility on you is another layer to let other people know that you're out there.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, especially if you're hiking along and you've got a bike coming down full force, it's great to have the bright colors on because they'll see you much easier than they will if you're in camouflage. But also it's a time of year where weather changes very quickly. So it can go from yesterday, I couldn't believe how warm it was out there. And you're shedding clothes, and then all of a sudden the winds will turn around, and all of a sudden feel like 28 degrees out there.
And that's gonna happen tomorrow. Yesterday, and for the last couple days, a bit of Indian summer. But tomorrow the winds are gonna pick up, and obviously, even in a warmer condition situation, the winds pick up on the trails. You'll catch a chill real quick.
Yes, you will.
When will the rain stop?
We used to play Johnny Cash every morning back in the day, and of course one of his songs was "How High Is the Water, Mama?" And the water, the rivers are high. It seems that every other day that it's nice. There's 2 more days of rain behind it, but that's just part of dealing with.
We can be the 3 tenors. We can actually belt out a tune, Tom.
No,
that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
We will not be getting that carried away.
No.
Okay. All right. It was a shot. It was worth it. It was a try.
Well, we talking about the 3 tenors. It's great to have you guys here, and it's great that we do this every Friday. And it's also important. We've gotten plenty of feedback from people that enjoy our show. They like the humor about it, but but the information that we're providing is always so important. And what did we just talk about? We talked about really important things. We talked about safety, talked about getting out and enjoying yourself, but also being mindful and being safe.
Oh, it's a great time to be out there this year.
Awesome time to be out there.
No
Great
doubt.
time of year.
Some of us bigger fellas, we enjoy going out there and taking hikes and maybe taking the mountain bike out, which I'm still a little nervous about, but we'll talk about the pump track and that in a minute. But it's great to be out there this time of year. You put a hoodie on or you bring a jacket with you, and then the next thing you know, you're feeling good. You're getting a good exercise in, and you're not sweating to death. You're not, your tongue's not dragging on the ground.
And the key, no bugs.
No bugs is always a good
No
thing.
bugs.
No bugs.
Although yesterday there were a few out there.
They are sneaky little devils. The next thing you know, you think that we took the full moon hike just a week and a half ago, and it was a beautiful night, no bugs at all. But then 2 days ago, it warms up to the mid 60s, and the bugs just
Here
come out
they
of
are
nowhere.
again.
It's they're like, we're going to get you guys before we leave.
Uh-huh.
We're talking
A
about
lot of deer out there.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
a
doubt
lot of
about
deer.
it. And
a lot
man-
of big horns too.
Wow.
and their color right now is so deceptive. They're a grayish kind of brown. They just
dark
blend
Blend
in.
right in. They blend right in.
It's amazing how the beauty of the nature, which is right here in our backyard, is there. And you touched on it, Mike. The idea that there is no hunting. There's never been hunting in the last for forever years up in the trail system and in the watershed region of Port Jervis. That is a great reminder to all of our listeners. There's no hunting up there, so you can go out and explore and know that you'll be safe up there. Of course, be mindful. Wear the vest. If you have a vest, get yourself. If you don't have a vest, get yourself a vest and be prepared. But go out and explore, and you can see, Mike.
And if you see something, please call in. The police department's very receptive to that, and we're all very receptive to that. We're out there, and one thing you should note: if you're a newcomer to the area, do be aware you're going to hear gunshots out when you're in the watershed. It will seem to be close because we have several gun clubs around the area, and so it does sound like they're shooting in the watershed. It's actually nearby and in safe locales. You're familiar with
the Tri-State Rod and Gun Club, one of the oldest rod and gun clubs in the region. They're located right on the end of Orange Street. So as you go up Orange Street, you hang a left at Reservoir Avenue, and that's, of course, where Res 1 is, or as we like to call it, the Brewers Reservoir. But if you continue all the way up Orange Street, that's the Tri-State Rod and Gun Club, and they are nestled at the end, but it's inside a valley. So anytime
it's a ravine there,
yeah,
so it just echoes throughout.
no doubt about it. So you will hear gunfire, and the sound of gunfire travels. It can travel for miles. So even up in the Sparrowbush region and up even further, you might hear gunshots. But thankfully, and very thankfully, the gunshots are not coming from the watershed
and
region.
the whole point is, if you hear this gunshots, it's nothing to be scared of. It's likely to be, I would say 98% of the time, really it's 100% of the time, it is the gun club you're hearing it from, or private properties way north of the watershed.
No doubt.
But if you see something, do call in. Don't be afraid. Don't hesitate. Call in, because we want to keep everybody safe out there.
One of the great initiatives that Police Chief Bill Warden talks about here in Port Jervis proper, on the streets and stuff. If you see something, say something. And so if you see a crime being committed, or if you see just blight or things that need to be addressed, contact the authorities, either the police department or City Hall. The same thing holds true in the watershed region of Port Jervis. The trails are maintained by the club, but the property is all city property.
It's all city property.
So if you see something that is not right up there, you call City Hall, or more importantly, call Mike Ward in the Outdoor Club. Mike, give him your number.
Go.
No, but contact the town hall or City Hall, or contact the Outdoor Club if you see something that you can't pick up. If you see garbage that you just can't handle because you don't have a bag that's big enough, or if you see, which is very rare to see up there. But if you just see something, get in touch, and we'll take care of it right away.
Yeah, and also things too is if you're hurt or something out there, and I know a lot of people, they'll twist an ankle or something and don't want to call 911. Feel free to always call me if you want to. I'm not the savior, but I will answer the phone or get your message and make sure somebody gets out there. But you want to say something that you're not just comfortable about calling the police about, give me a call at 845-8 858-1176. Now, that number is probably new to you. I've been giving you other numbers. That number is actually my business phone, which is now being used for club business.
There you go. Again, the number, Mike?
845-858-1176, and that goes right to my cell phone.
And there you go. Get in touch with Mike if you have anything that you see up there. Speaking of Mike's,
even down trees, anything on the trails that need attention. Don't ever hesitate to give me a call.
I always need attention on the trails.
Yeah, and that's why I don't give you the phone number. Oops, I just did.
You just did. You're in trouble now.
How about this? A big shout out. We're talking to Mike and Chip, but a big shout out to my friend Mike. Mike's listening in, and he says, "Good morning from Texas."
All right.
Yeehaw! Howdy, Mike.
Oh, boy, Mike, look what you just did to Chip.
I spiked the grid on that one, I think.
And, Mike, we're on Facebook Live now, so I'm going to sometimes step away from the screen here to deal with some comments. But our good friend Kalila, she just chimed in. We talked about the bugs before. The ticks are still out there. So.
Ticks are still out there. Believe it or not, ticks are out there 365. If you're disturbing leaves and things, you will see ticks. You might have them adhere to you. They are out there. Just stay stay on the trails.
Well, we just wrapped up the full moon hike a week and a half ago, and Ravi, one of our club, I almost call him an ambassador, right, Chip?
Yes,
absolutely.
I'll call him even more than an ambassador.
Yeah.
Ravi is just a great guy. He was out with his dog on the hike and his wife, and he sprayed down the dog and himself with insect repellent because he said it wasn't the bugs he's worried about. It's always the ticks.
It's always the ticks.
So they're out, as you mentioned, Mike, they're out 365. But we talk about the conditions of the trails, and we're talking about the season changing and being mindful of maybe wearing a brighter colored clothing while you're out there. So let's talk about it, Mike. Let's get out there. What's going on? What are the club activities that are coming up? And what people need to know about getting out and enjoying the trails?
Well, right now we have our usual on Saturday mornings, our weekly run. Although watch the weather conditions because they're supposed to be pretty nasty. In fact, while we were talking, I was looking. We now have high wind warnings or high wind watch for the area, and it's saying that west winds 25 to 35 miles an hour with gusts up to 60 miles an hour.
Wow!
And that's through tomorrow night, Saturday night.
That's going to mess up Chip's hair.
So there's also going
I
to be.
I do have hair, by the way. See,
there's so the run tomorrow. There's supposed to be rain as well. So the run, which happens at Brewers Reservoir at 9 a.m. That is led by Melissa Decker and Peter Tomasi. Watch the weather. Sometimes they're out there, sometimes they're not. There's also a meditative hike at 9:30 a.m. behind St. Peter's Church, and that's led by Reverend Aaron Bauman. That's been getting good participation.
Yeah, the word is that's a lot of fun. You think about it, combining, the exercise that you get on the trails is always good for the body, but, doing the meditation part of it is good for the soul as well and the mind to kind of just, for me, going on the trails is a great release from the stress of work and just life's, frustrations and stuff. So being able to have Reverend Aaron there to kind of help you with the meditative side of it, that's a lot of fun, and it's a great release. Mike, when is that again?
That's at 9:30 tomorrow morning.
9:30
behind
St.
St. Peter's Church.
Okay.
right. And our good friend Kalela always talks about how hiking is a means of therapy as well. When you're out there, it's a therapeutic cleanse for yourself while you're out there. So
you need more hiking.
Me? I need more cleansing. That's why I need more hiking. Maybe I'll get more fiber, Mike. How about that?
No, but all of these things that we were talking about is all on the philosophy of getting people out, not just to go out and explore and see the beauty that's right here in our backyard, but it's also good for you to get out and get some exercise in. And there's no better way of exercising than to go and explore someplace maybe you've never seen before, or maybe you've been to the trails before, and now you go again, and you'll never come away without saying, "Oh my God, I saw something new on every time you're up on the trails."
Sure. And if you don't feel like hiking or biking or running this weekend, two things going on is tomorrow at 10 a.m., starting at Farnham Park, John Faggione with the Department of Recreation, Port Jervis Department of Recreation, is leading a park cleanup of leaves. Winds are going to be out there. Rain's going to be out there. So I'm not sure what John's going to do, but I will be there at 10 a.m. Those who need rakes or anything to help out with that, if you want to come join us. And then we're doing it again on Sunday. We'll be up in Elks Brox Park taking care of the trails, getting leaves off the trails where they accumulate the most.
John's been great about promoting the park cleanup for tomorrow. And one of the big sales pitches he's been using to get people out there is that come to the parks and help clean up. And he says, quote, Outdoor Club of Port Jervis rakes will be there.
Yes.
He makes it sound like they're a very elusive and exclusive thing. Are they gold-plated?
They're well used. Oh, that's they're well used.
Yeah.
But that's great. You know, the Port Jervis Rec Department.
Does Tom, does John use blowers at all?
I know that he has a couple of leaf blowers.
Yeah, because I'll bring some of those tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah. You know, they do those park cleanups, one in the spring and I believe one in the fall. And you can contact the rec center and the Port Jervis Rec Department, 858-4045, 858-4045 for more information. So for you young people who are, or moms and dads that are listening, if you're looking to get into some community service hours, if your club, maybe you're part of the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or any kind of club or organization, if you want to help out your community, the park cleanup is tomorrow. And you can
10
call
a.m.
10 a.m. Call the rec center, 858-4045 for more details. And you can get all the information there. Hey, big shout out right now. We're looking, our good friend Tom Sexton. He's listening in.
All right.
He's
Tom.
morning,
Come on,
Tom.
on the road. He took it on the road. He's down in West Virginia. He's
West
out.
Virginia.
Yeah.
That's on the road.
He's out
That
exploring.
reminds me of a song by John Denver. It just comes to mind.
Many years ago when I used to do a lot of rock and roll tours, boy, we would always go through West Virginia. Never stop, right through.
If you hear the banjos playing, keep going.
Well, you know, Tom's down there. He's big into the outdoor adventure sports. He has his ATVs, and he belongs to some clubs and organizations. And maybe one day we'll have him on the show and talk about some other parts of Orange County that he wants to explore on quads and ATVs. But he's down there in West Virginia, and I believe he's at an event called the Hatfield and McCoys. So,
Really?
yeah.
How appropriate is that?
I hope he comes back because I need some repair work done on my vehicle, and Tom is the guy for that. So, Tom, have a safe and fun trip down there. And speaking of Tom, he's, of course, a business owner. He owns Tom's Auto here in Port Jervis. We want to give a big shout-out to some of our sponsors, including, of course, Roy's Family Diner and Pizzeria. They have the best pizza in town, and you can find them. They're at the old Homers, if you will. So many people know. You know, we talk about the outdoor club. We talk about Brewers Reservoir. A lot of people know it as Reservoir 1. Deer Park Dam, a lot of people know it as Reservoir 3. Roy's Family Diner and Pizzeria, so many people know that as Homer's. And Roy's cool with that. He's like, you know what? Hey, as long as people are coming in, that's all good by me. But Roy's Family Diner and Pizzeria, they have good food and they're served with love. And I got to tell you, I was in there the other day, and, you know, we bust each other's chops here on this show. Roy and I bust each other's chops better than my twin brother and I do. And so big shout out to Roy. He does a good job there. If you walk out of that place hungry, you didn't order anything to eat.
Tom, I was just going to say, you're not walking out of that place hungry. They have great food, and it's a great atmosphere, and you will really like being there, and the food is awesome. So
Yeah,
just go give it a shot.
It's such a contrast because he has some great wait staff, and they're sweet ladies and all friendly. And then Roy comes out, and yeah, well, he's a little bit different. No, but no, go down and see Roy. Roy's always been one to help out the outdoor club. He's always been a guy in the community, and you can go down and check him out. Their number there is 858-7828. That's 858-7828, and that's Roy's Family Diner. They're at 2 East Main Street. I never knew that address, but of course, it's right there on the corner of Pike Street and East Main. And go down and say hi to Roy. I'll be there tomorrow morning, Roy. And yeah, I know you'll be busting my chops, but I'll be eating good.
Yeah, they had food for the Erie 80. They had great food down there.
Yeah, I mean,
it's great.
That weekend of the Erie 80, if I can recall correctly, Roy had to cater a wedding, and he had to cater the event, the Erie 80, and he had to keep the restaurant open. And so he was busy all weekend, and so it's good to have guys like Roy as small business owners here in our community. who take care of their business, but also look out for the community. And we're glad to have him as a sponsor here on our show. And we're glad that he's involved with the Outdoor Club. Years ago, when one of the first bike races took place, he wasn't sure what was going on because he was in front of his store, and the bike race went right by. And a couple days later, he's like, Tom, I don't know what's going on. Like 100 guys on bikes just rode by my shop the other day. I said, Roy, that's the Outdoor Club. That was one of their events. And he goes, it was awesome. And he goes, it was great because so many of the guys after the race actually came back to his place because they said, oh my God, we drove by your restaurant, and we're like, oh, we got to check that place out. So thanks, Roy, for all you do, and thank you for always looking out for the Outdoor Club. And the Outdoor Club's always going to look out for the businesses that look out for the Outdoor Club.
Absolutely, and he delivers as well, right, Tom? They deliver.
He does deliver, and we talk about some of our other business partners and maybe some of the warm beverages people like to drink in the morning. Well, maybe we'll challenge Roy to do a delivery, or better yet, we'll take the show on the road. We'll do a show from Roy's one day.
You keep saying that, Tom. We have to deliver that show on the road aspect.
We're working on. Listen, we're working on the studio here and getting it all set up right. So we'll
finding alternatives to Dunkin' Donuts at 6 a.m.
January 1st, it'll be just Dunkin'. That's all it'll be known as.
But more importantly, we're here to talk about the Outdoor Club. We talked about the conditions of the trails, and we're talking about the events that are taking place. Mike, a couple of events, I don't know if we'll call them events, but reoccurring activity that takes place is a very special activity that takes place on Wednesdays, and you call it We Dig Wednesdays.
Yeah, that's actually terminated now for the rest of the year. And the reason why is because of the change of clock, and as well as it getting darker earlier.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because there's a crew of guys that don't join us here on Friday mornings.
No.
And their faces are faceless, their names are nameless, but we're going to point out who they are, and we want to thank these guys. Tell some of the listeners maybe who haven't heard about what the We Dig Wednesdays was all about. Tell them about what it was, what these guys do, and how important they are as part of the club.
Well, first of all, the We Dig Wednesday was all about the expansion of the trails within the watershed. We have this goal in our minds where we would like to have X number of miles, and right now we're reaching the 47-mile mark. We have projected 55 miles of trail in the park, and we will be going further beyond that. But the We Dig Wednesday was all about the creation of these trails. They're all hand dug, and they were led by our trail designer. He is our chief and our expert trail designer, Adam Hubbard, but he also is the lead trail builder. And we've got Adam Hubbard, we've got Tom Moran, Sean Colvenbach, Philip Johnson,
Dan Piscatelli.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So many names I just can't remember off the top of my head.
And these guys, I mean, they don't just go out there with a shovel and just start digging holes and saying, okay, this is where the trail's going to go.
It's a plan. There's a plan behind it.
And you're talking up to 55 miles of trail throughout the watershed region. And all these trails are hand-built. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are single track, and they are as natural can be. You're not looking at concrete footings and moorings. You're not looking at slabs of concrete or man-made materials there. These are as natural as can be, and you are literally one step away from being in nature. You're on the trail, and then you're in nature.
Yes, indeed.
And to build something like that, not only do you have to be creative, but you have to have an engineering's mindset. You can't just say, well, let's go this way with the trail. No. These guys really look at the terrain. They look at the goal of where they want to get to. It's not a matter of just saying, okay, today we're going to make 10 foot of trail. They're looking 40, 50, 60 feet ahead to say, no, this is where we want the trail to go. What's the best way to get us there that's going to be exciting, but also enjoyable for people to look and see the vistas as well.
And then the rainy, this weekend will be great with the rain, the amount of rain, go out after the fact on a new trail and see, we need to take care of this area because it gets wet. And that's one thing that's very important, is make sure that we keep the trails as dry as possible. Number one, safety. Number two, erosion. Erosion is a big killer. The minute erosion starts, it's hard to stop it, but we are able to work around that.
And that comes from proper engineering as well.
It does.
And speaking of engineering, yesterday the Orange County Legislature met, And I'd like to announce that the legislature has now approved an addition to the Heritage Trail. The Heritage Trail, as you know, extends from Goshen out towards Harriman. And the trail's making a U-turn, and it is heading back towards Middletown. And the newer extension of the trails are being built, and the trail will now be extended into Howells. So slowly but surely, the Heritage Trail in Orange County is coming westward. This trail is a lot different.
Maybe they'll keep coming this way, and some of that money they're spending are coming to us.
And that's exactly what I'd like to talk about, is that the Heritage Trail is a lot different than these trails that we're talking about in the watershed region. The Heritage Trail is a blacktop trail. It's an old rail bed, and that trail costs between $1.5 and maybe $2 million a mile.
Wow.
I heard it was 1.4 per half mile.
And there you go. So,
wow.
And there's a lot of money from the federal government, the state government, as well as the county contribution. But that trail is a lot different. So people that have been on the Heritage Trail that are listening, we want to remind them that's a great trail. I mean, it's great. You can bring your families. You can push baby strollers. It's a nice place to walk.
Yeah, it's all flat railway bed.
And think about it. So the railway bed is, 15, 20 feet wide. So they have a blacktop slab, and the canopy is wide open. The canopy is open, as you could imagine, to accommodate a train. So the trees are, cut away, and there's plenty of open space for you to walk, and it's a nice path to go and enjoy yourself. The trails in the watershed region are a totally different operation.
Totally different.
These are one with nature. They are single track. Mike, when we say single track, can you explain to some people that may not understand what that means or doesn't?
Single track is essentially single bike riding, one behind the other, or single hiking, one person behind the other. We keep them about 24 inches to 30 inches wide at most, so that it is non-invasive, that it is natural looking as possible. Now, we do have some trails that are on old roadways, what we would call woods roads. Those are much, much wider and open, so not all trails are single-track trails, but all the ones we are creating as new trails are. And then we will be having some handicap accessible trails, which some of them are now, and we're going to make those hard pack. Rather than asphalt. Asphalt is one of those things that's easy to get, it's easy to put down, then you can walk away and not come back for a few years. Hard pack's a little bit harder because you do have to maintain it. But when you talk to ADA, for instance, their preference is they want to be out in nature. And if you have hard packed stone, it's more natural. They feel like they're outdoors. They don't want to be stuck on asphalt and concrete.
You speak of ADA, and there's no way and this is not a slight to anybody, these trails obviously are natural trails that have been hewed out of the ground, and there's no push to make all the trails ADA compliant because it's not possible.
No.
But to be mindful of making sure that there are areas where people that might have some limited mobility and situation, for them to come up and explore and enjoy, that is really a great an outlook by the Outdoor Club to continue to advance in that way as well.
Mm-hmm. That's why it's key with our good friend here, the ambassador Chip, is that he goes out on the what I would call a newbie hike, or for those new to trails, beginner hike. It's a newbie hike.
It is a newbie hike.
Because you're a newbie.
Yeah, I am. I'm still as green as this sweatshirt, man. Let me tell you. People will give you the feedback to that effect. Thanks, Mike.
And those trails are much easier to walk, and we keep them that way. Yeah. We're going to improve them as time goes on, and we can afford to buy the stone and gravel to make them a little more hard pack. But this is what we're looking at doing down by the river in the woods down there, is trying to create on the existing trails down there, make them more ADA compliant, so people can be in the woods, be down by the river, and then they'll venture up to our longer trails up north.
Mike's good. This guy is good.
Isn't he good? He's great, man.
He walked us right to the third segment, and before we start Before we start the third segment, we want to thank one of our other sponsors, of course, and that is the Richard's Army Surplus. We're here right now, Richard's Army Surplus, the official host, the official site of the Outdoor Club's weekly trail report, 264 East Main Street in Port Jervis. You can give them a buzz down at the Army Surplus store, 856-1911. That's 856-1911 for all your outdoor needs, from hiking boots to outdoor military jackets, hats, and apparel. all the things that you need to get out in the woods. You need to get yourself a pocket knife or a trail knife. Come down and see Joe. He's our bladesmith down here at the Army Surplus Store. And for all your other needs, come down and see Amy and Terry. And hey, you can even see me because that's where I work.
He does exist.
That's right. Richard's Army Surplus 264. We are the official host site of the Outdoor Club's weekly trail report, and it's great to be here every Friday bringing you the show. We're in the office. We've continued to kind of tweak where we are set up here. A couple of times we've set up on the floor of the retail space here. I think we're going to go back to the retail space. The backdrop of all the boots a couple weeks ago, a lot of people liked that, so we're going to do that again. But we want to thank everybody down at the Army Surplus Store for their sponsorship and keeping the Outdoor Club a part of their weekly activities, because hey, we're here at 7 o'clock in the morning. When we're done, when I kick you guys out, we open up the store, and maybe customers will come in and say, hey, they listen to us on
it. He kicks us out.
Well, but speaking of weekly activities, we didn't get on to Sunday.
Oh my God, look at that.
Yes.
See, now Mike is great because he's bringing us back to segment 2.
Correct. See? Redirection, it's called.
Since I wasn't clued into segment 3.
Right. Redirect.
So Sunday, just to bring it up, is that on Sunday morning, 9 a.m., Elks Brock's, our parking lot 2, which is the entrance at the top of the hill into Elks Brock's, we are going to hold a couple of hour session of raking leaves, blowing leaves on the trails to get those cleared. But then there is a beginner's bike ride that will happen at 2 p.m., same location.
Now, this beginner's bike ride, this has been an ongoing event.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's really for more than beginners. It's for anybody.
And that's exactly the point. You know, the whole idea of calling it a beginner's bike ride is to encourage more people to get on their bikes and come out and explore the trails. And who's going to host the bike ride this week?
Well, the Outdoor Club hosts it, and it's led by Ben Cheek, our Director of Activities.
And Ben's great because Ben and Phil and all those guys, they really judge how they're going to ride based upon who's there.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they have a whole bunch of new guys, new beginners, or even some younger kids, they'll craft the ride based upon who they have there, because those guys are gnarly. They know how to go up and down mountains like crazy men.
They do.
But at the same time, they know that they want to encourage other people to come out and explore. So if you're new to mountain bike riding like this guy, and you're interested in maybe, going up there, but you're not sure, I don't know which way to go, or hey, come out Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. Where are they going to meet?
They're meeting at Parking Lot 2, which is the entrance to Elks Brock's Park.
And that is right down near Brewer's Reservoir?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Elks
You
Brock's
said,
Park.
Oh, Elks Brock, Parking Lot 2. That's
Correct.
right up on top there.
That's
so
correct.
Go up.
Top of the hill.
Top of the hill.
9742, make a right up into Elks Brock's.
And the guys will be right there. That's the best parking lot because you can't miss it.
Yeah, it's 1 mile up.
Yep. Go on up, and the guys will be there. Bring couple of things with you. Always bring hydration, but mountain bike riding,
always bring your helmet.
Exactly. Mountain bike riding, street bike riding, anytime you're on your bike, the most important thing is your brain bucket. Make sure you have your helmet with you. In fact, the guys won't let you ride unless you have a helmet.
Correct.
And so bring your helmet with you. And if there's anybody listening out there that have young kids that don't have bike helmets, you can get in touch with the Port Jervis City Police Department, and they will always set you up with a bike helmet. And if they don't have bike helmets, you can contact the Outdoor Club. There will never be a situation in the city of Port Jervis in which a young person wants to ride a bike and does not have a helmet. The helmet we'll find you a helmet. So don't worry about that. You can always contact the Outdoor Club, and we'll make that a priority to make sure that a kid has a helmet, because without that helmet, they can't ride. And without riding, they're not going to come out to be able to enjoy all the great activities and the club, the trails that are on the club. So that's on Sunday.
On Sunday.
All right. So get on out on your bike. Chip, I know you and I, we have bikes. We're working towards getting up there on the bikes, but we'll get up there soon enough. But the holdback for me is that some of my skills for the mountain bike don't match those trails. And I'm not saying that you need to be an expert mountain bike rider, but I'm a little wimpy on the bike. I'm not going to dig into the corners and spin the tires and everything. So for a guy like me, I might be a little intimidated.
Well, start off in Elks Brock's.
Yeah, and you've
been on those trails up there.
I have,
and they can be hard, they can be easy, they have great views, but you're never far away from a roadway. So if you get tired, you can certainly walk your way back. It's a great way of learning all the trails. And then there's a lot of trails up there, and expand outward and go north.
And one of the
I think you were addressing me there, Mike.
No.
But one of the things that we've been talking about, and I'm going to make it a point that we reference it at least once every show, and that is the future plans for the outdoor club. And they involve very much a great deal of activity and development in the Riverside Park region of Port Jervis. And so for a rookie like me on my mountain bike, Mike, you know, what's coming in the future for the outdoor club that's going to encourage a guy like me ride my mountain bike to learn how to ride it better?
Well, this has been a lot of time, especially this past week. We're looking at various drawings, drafts of the track itself, and they're really coming to fruition in the sense of what our dream is. And the idea is we're going to have essentially 2 tracks, and this is down at Riverside Park, just beyond the baseball diamond. The 2 tracks being a beginner's track, and then you can't really call it a pro track, but it is an advanced track. These tracks are really not for bike tricks. This is to learn how to ride a bike on hills, around the bends, but more so it's an aerobic activity. It's a way of exercising and being nearby. The distance of the tracks will allow you to sit there for hours and be able to ride them, or you can simply get out there and really force yourself to get an exercise done in 20 minutes or so. But the idea is to train you, or to train the novices into how to ride bikes on bumps and bends, and then move them down to the river, where we will have variations of single track trails down there, to where you can have the experience of riding in the woods. The idea being that once you get used to that and you feel comfortable, now you can go into the big deal, which is the watershed trails. Where there's 47 miles of trails up there, you'll feel much more comfortable about riding. But being able to have kids or adults downtown walk over, ride on tracks downtown, and then when they're adventurous on the weekends, go on north.
And this is a great opportunity, not just for people that want to come out and learn how to ride bikes again, but it's a great opportunity for the entire city of Port Jervis. This is the type of development that people are looking for in their communities, and say, wow, this is something that not every community in the region has. It's going to be a draw for people that want to come and live here, because people are going to want to have activities that they can go and enjoy, get out of work, get out at lunchtime, break time in their day. And something like this to be developed down there is a brilliant idea. And it's not a pipe dream. It's not something that's pie in the sky. This is the real deal.
We've been setting up, whenever we set up the tent or when we're out promoting, we always put a poster board up that shows a concept drawing. We also have pictures of various other tracks that have been built. It's become very popular on the East Coast, and the whole point behind this track is to get kids and adults out there riding their bikes and then possibly going up into the watershed. But one important thing about this is that the club is finding the funding from donations and contributions to construct this. The city is helping us in utilizing the land down there. But we are making sure that the club pay the expenses of building this track.
I referenced the cost and the price tag of the Heritage Trail. One thing I didn't talk about is the logistics of governance over the Heritage Trail in terms of all the engineering that'll be done. Not to say that the outdoor club's not going to do engineering on the pump track. That will be done. But the time and expense and volume of paper that government creates to build something like the Heritage Trail, if we had to have government involved in every aspect of building the trails in the watershed region, we'd have maybe about 100 yards of trail right now. But right now we're looking at over 40 miles of trail, and we're looking at a club, which is a 501(c), that is building trails in the watershed region, and we'll be building a pump track in Riverside Park, and it's going to happen in the near future.
And I think the biggest difference, aside the bureaucracy, when you have a group of people that are so dedicated and so thrilled at doing these things,
like
and
Bill,
the excitement, it just you're always talking about it, and it's not like none of this is planned. We spend hundreds and hundreds of hours discussing it, but we're not sitting in a committee wasting time. We're actually out having fun and seeing all the different elements that people enjoy in not only our location but elsewhere, and we're incorporating that into what we do here.
And also, you can see it's represented well by the club itself. You know, we pick on Chip all the time because
All the time.
It's
Oh,
our,
yeah.
it's our
Oh.
job. It's our job. We have to pick on Chip. The day that we don't
do.
pick on Chip is a bad day,
Very bad.
and
day.
it's a day that has yet to exist.
Thank goodness for that.
But we call Chip the ambassador, and Mike, you're the president. These are titles. You know, Chip's ambassadorship could be pulled at any moment. You know, his diplomatic immunity is wavering every day.
It's wavering every day.
But
it is.
seriously, though, the reason why you are the ambassador is because we find each and every person that's involved in the club, we harness the talents that they have. Mike, you're the perfect example of this. You, as the president, you have led us in a way that has shown proven results. Talked about Adam Hubbard being the engineer that's doing so much of the trail work. You've put the people in place. The people have found you. You have found the people, and you've built a network of people that you bring their positive talents to the table, and that has had proven results. We are yet to find out what positive results Chip has brought to the table.
Chip is actually great in one positive sense.
One positive sense.
One
One
positive
positive
is that
sense.
he promotes the hell out of the club. He is like this sweatshirt right here. Person to see is Chip. Chip sells more shirts, more sweatshirts, more T-shirts, more long sleeve tees, more caps than anybody else in this club ever has.
Chip will sell the shirt off his back for the right price.
I will, and I'll autograph it too.
and we're now in trouble. The audience is now in trouble because we've given Chip a card reader. So
That's
he
right.
will. If you say you don't have the cash in your pocket,
Just
you
pull
better
out that
pull
little
out your
plastic
card.
item, and I can take care of it for you.
And you know, and we'll turn serious for just a moment, even though we are talking
It
about
is serious.
Chip.
It's very
but
serious.
you know, Chip as the ambassador, as the lead shirt salesman, this is exactly what the club is all about: harnessing the talents of the people, and then having those people take those talents into the community. Chip, you're the ambassador. You always have two things at the ready. Now you have three things at the ready. Number one, you always have your Sharpie.
Right.
Always have your Sharpie ready to autograph at a moment's notice.
Moment's notice.
Number two, you always have the way of selling a T-shirt. Someone wants a T-shirt, boom. It's almost.
It's almost like it magically appears.
And now number three, that person says, I want to buy that T-shirt. Oh, but I don't have money.
Well, now they can. They can take out their credit card, and I can swipe it. I have the ability to do that, and I can magically give them a shirt right there on the spot.
He now has the ability to go to number 3, taking donations and contributions.
Correct. I
Because
can
we
take
get a lot of that.
donations
We
and
actually get a lot
contributions.
of that, where people come up to us and they just hand us a check to further develop the club and all that we do. Or they'll simply say, can you take us credit card? And rather than saying go online, we can take it right then and there.
And
There you go.
the name is true. He literally is a chip reader.
I'm
He is a chip reader.
With a chip reader. Hey,
Yeah,
how
he
about
got my
that?
card 3
All right.
times last
Oh,
weekend.
boy.
It may take a dozen and a half sessions for me to learn how to use this technology, but it's really easy. I think I can handle it.
But the good thing is that, you know, Chip, you are an ambassador. Wherever
you.
you go, you're out promoting the club.
I am promoting the club and the watershed trail system. I believe in it. I believe what's going on in this community and how we have rallied to have people experience the beauty that surrounds us. And it's great to be in the Northeast Corridor because we have 4 seasons, change of seasons, and to see it in full effect in the watershed is awesome. And I believe in it, and that's why I'm out there so strongly promoting it. And I want you guys to come out and see it and experience it. Go on a guided hike. Go on a guided bike ride. Just come out, and see it for yourselves, and you will believe.
And it literally is in our backyard.
It is right in our backyard.
These
Undiscovered, but now discovered.
No doubt. These trails are right here. They're for you for the taking. As always, mindful of whatever you bring in, you bring out with you. But you mentioned going on guided hikes, going on guided bike tours. Chip, you recently completed one of your world-famous guided hikes.
I did indeed. It was world famous, very world famous. I completed it last Sunday up at Brewers Reservoir. And I took a small group of hikers around the reservoir for what is billed as a beginner hike, hosted by the club. And
Newbie.
Right, the newbie.
Newbie hike.
And, this concept is growing because Mike really feels strongly, and as do I, that beginner-type people want to come out and experience the watershed and what's happening. Right, Mike?
Yeah, in fact, I wanted to emphasize the fact that with the club is really expanding in a lot of areas, and that's not taking anything away from the primary objective of the watershed. The idea is to get much more involvement out there, and as there are a lot of newbies, as there are a lot of inexperienced people, as well as a lot of the seniors that don't want to be out there alone. Even a lot of the you name the age, they don't want to be out there alone. We want to do these guided hikes out there, as well as create a scenario to where they can experience things before they get out there, such as the Riverside Park area. We've got so many great things to do around here, or areas that we can create things to do. And we're not losing sight of the watershed park itself. In fact, there's a lot developing up there, and now is not a good time to expand on that. But we are developing a lot up there.
Well, that's the whole thing about the club. The club's focus isn't just, oh, we have 40 miles of trail. Okay, let's go home and just let it be.
Right.
The club is always looking at ways of not just protecting those trails, and more importantly, protecting the environment around those trails. You know, people think about the trail development. If you go into the woods in the watershed region, unless you're on the trail, if you fray off the trail 50 feet, 100 yards, you would not know that there were trails there. It's not like trees have been cut down. It's not like paths have been put through the forest. The trails keep nature looking as natural as possible up there. And for the club to do that, that is great on the resume. So for whatever the next step is, be it at Riverside Park or wherever the endeavors are in the region, there's a proven track record from the outdoor club being mindful of the environment, but also providing an outdoor experience that is, number one, in our backyard, number two, super clean, and number three, has longevity. And it's a strong resume for the outdoor club.
And it's bringing in outsiders. I mean, the big key right now, and I hear it a lot when I go to these meetings throughout the county and state, is that recreation is now the big tourism thing. And here we have a lot of recreation in the area. And in my mind, we have a two-way street. Recreation brings in business. Also, business brings in the need for recreation. And so this benefits everybody. The key with the club, though, is being able to do this without having to ask for taxpayer money to do it. And so far, the enthusiasm has been greatly appreciated and involved into the outdoor club, that we are getting the funding to make things happen.
And the city of Port Jervis is definitely on the map in a great way. There are other communities in the region. I won't say out loud anybody by name in terms of civic leaders, but I know, for example, the city of Middletown, smell it? It's jealousy. It's all over the city of Middletown. They are as jealous as can be of the city of Port Jervis. I'll say it again. The city of Middletown is jealous of the city of Port Jervis. They may have the Erie Bell in terms of the high school football game, but there are elected leaders in Middletown who are so jealous of the city of Port Jervis because of the trails in the watershed region that the city of Middletown is looking at trying to develop trails in their water regions as well. They have a way different situation over there, and one of the things that they don't have is they don't have the vistas and views the way that the city watershed region here in Port Jervis has. But they're looking at expanding and building trails in their watershed park or watershed region. And that is a great compliment to the city of Port Jervis and to the
and to the leaders of Port Jervis,
yeah,
too. I mean, you have to give credit to Mayor Kelly and even the city council at being open-minded.
Well, I wouldn't say and even. Absolutely. The city council and the mayor of Port Jervis collectively have been part of this visionary process, and without the elected leaders locally supporting the endeavors, because remember, this is city property. And even though the club has done all this great work, the city could come in at any moment and say, hey, guys, listen, we have whatever. But they have been a equal partner with the club. Mm-hmm. And that type of communication and the proven results, I mean, everyone's buying in, and that's great.
Yes, indeed.
And Chip, you're bought in too, right?
I'm thoroughly bought in.
So
Absolutely.
we were talking about your Sunday hike last week, your beginner hike, and talking about Mike was just talking about seniors maybe not wanting to go out there alone. Chip, we cannot let you go on the trails alone.
Oh, stop. It's true. Okay, I admit it.
But what I'm saying is, and I'm throwing you a bone here, big guy.
All right.
Is that
Thanks. I'm kind of hungry right
your
now.
next hike? We want it to be world famous in a variety of ways. Number one, not only anytime you go in the woods, that is a world famous event. I mean, we're talking about, paparazzi, helicopters with cameras and everything all in the area.
Oh, listen to this.
But we
Keep
want
that flight ceiling at 2,000 feet like drones.
That's right, the drones. But we want, and we're going to hold you to account. The next hike that you lead, which we're going to work on for the next show, you're going to announce it's going to be a very special hike.
It will be?
Wow. We want your hike, your special hike that's coming up between now and say, I don't know, Christmas time. That big hike that you're going to put together.
The holidays are upon us.
Oh, a little foreshadowing, perhaps.
And date has been chosen.
A date has been
selected.
chosen. That hike will be world famous.
Absolutely.
And we're going to get more people involved, more people enjoying it. It's going to be things that they're going to talk about for years to come.
Years to come. It'll be epic.
Epic. And we're teasing it this week. We're going to roll out some more information next week. But if you're listening out there and you have questions, you can contact the Outdoor Club and say, hey, what are you guys talking about? What's Chip doing? What's going on? I need to know. So get in touch with the Outdoor Club. Mike, we haven't talked about it yet enough. The Outdoor Club website?
Oh, yes, the ocopj.org. Most of the updated information is on there, as well as Facebook, Outdoor Club of Port Jervis. And also we've started a new Facebook page, the Port Jervis Watershed Trails.
I love it. And, of course, me, Tom Faggione, that's where you can check us out on Facebook Live. We're also linking it through the Outdoor Club's page on Facebook and on YouTube. All of these episodes of the Outdoor Club Weekly Trail Report are available on YouTube. The link is always available online on Facebook. You can check me out, Tom Faggione. But also the Outdoor Club has a direct link now to all of our last 7 shows. Each show is getting better and better, right, Chip?
Better and better.
That's because we have
faster and faster, too.
Indeed.
Yeah. Look at the time.
Yeah.
We are indeed becoming well-oiled machines.
Well, you know why? Because we're listening to our critics, and we're listening to the people that are listening, like our good friend Bill Schill.
He's a great guy, by the way, that Bill Schill. Thanks for listening.
Now, Mike, one more thing before we break up.
Is Bill listening?
He hasn't chimed in yet, but we got tons of listeners all over the region and all over the country that are listening. Oh, my good friend Scott from Scott Manley, he is on the eastern edge of Orange County. He's listening in. Daryl Ward and Brenda and Robert and Marty. Hey, my good buddy Marty's listening. That's great.
All right.
I almost lost my train of thought here. So we're talking about events and activities that are coming up, how to get involved, the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis's website. If people want to get involved, there's plenty of ways that people can get involved. I mean, we talked about Chip and the Chip Reader. Donations are always freely accepted, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
Always welcome, yes.
And if you want, you can buy yourself. Let's talk about the club gear for just a second.
Sure.
Chip, what's available? What do you got for us?
Well, right now we have the fall line into the winter line, which is the hoodie and navy blue. And we have long sleeve T-shirts, Carolina blue and navy blue as well. They all sport the club logo proudly. And also we'll be getting in some knit winter hats in safety orange and black and navy, or
yeah, it's black or navy.
It's black or navy, but there'll be winter wool knit hats with the logo on the hat itself. It's a really nice hat. Safety orange is a great color, as we discussed earlier, to have out in the woods for safety. And
baseball hats.
Baseball hats as well. We'll be getting baseball hats in. So, these items are going to be...
And the 3 colors of short sleeve tees.
Oh, yes. And we have short sleeve tees available as well. If you're a short sleeve type of tee guy, we have red, we have the navy, and we have
the military green.
Military green.
And we're going to take pictures of all these and put them up on the club Facebook page and website in the next 2 weeks. They make great Christmas gifts.
They do make awesome Christmas gifts. And if I might just state what the pricing is for these items.
Please
if I
do.
Can. Okay. Short sleeve T-shirts are $10. Long sleeve T-shirts are $15, and a hoodie is a great price. The feedback on the price for the hoodie is awesome. $25 for the hoodie.
I'm wearing one now, and you are too.
Yes, looks great on you, Tom.
It's very slimming.
Yes, you wear it well.
We also have polo shirts.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I'm excited about that as well. We got polo shirts as well that'll be coming in. And they have the...
They'll have Outdoor Club of Port Jervis.
Right. Outdoor Club of Port Jervis
on the
in
breast.
text on the breast of the shirt. Really classy looking shirt. It's going to get rolled out shortly. And did we decide what the price for that would be on the polo?
Not yet.
Okay, that hasn't been determined. But be assured the polo shirt is going to look classy. It's going to be great. And you're going to want one. I'm telling you. You will.
There you go. And this is great. So not only can you show your support by wearing one of these garments, but number two, you know that you are supporting the club by buying one of these.
Absolutely. And all the money generated from the sales of these items goes back into the watershed park trail system. That's the beauty of this.
You mean you dig a hole and you bury all the money there?
Correct.
And then maybe there'll be a scavenger hunt?
Stop. You'll have people up there digging holes looking
Oh,
for
no.
money.
The only time people can dig up there is on We Dig Wednesdays with Adam Hubbard. That's the
That's
only
right.
time.
That's right, although that has ceased for the season.
Right. So if anybody's up there with a shovel now,
Yeah.
wait till springtime.
Yeah.
And next week, let's talk about some of the classes we're going to have up there. Photography classes, nighttime photography.
Well, now hold on a
some
second.
Orienteering.
Mike,
Look at this.
we were talking before the show started. One of the most fun activities that I think you guys did this year was the Art on the Mountain contest. And just to recap for people that may not know, it was done in the springtime, and people were told and asked to go up there, take pictures, draw artwork, sketches, whatever, any type of art that they took away from the park, whether it was a picture, a photography picture, or, as we said, a sculpture, or maybe a charcoal drawing. And then an event was held at the Upfront Gallery, in which the top 5, was it top 10?
Oh, it was more than that.
Top 20, I think. All the submissions were on display like an art gallery would put art on display. And it was a fantastic event. The winners were chosen, and there was a silent auction. So the winners' pictures, that not only did the winners get a chance to win, but then they witnessed as their artwork was auctioned off in a silent auction. All the money went to the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis. What a great event. What a great idea.
We're going to have it again in the spring. So now is a great time to get the fall and winter, whether it's photographs, oil paintings, watercolors, even videos. We're going to open it up
I love it.
to a lot of different categories. And one thing I would love to see change this year is we now have the time to do it. Let's get everybody's photographs up there. Let's display their photographs, and let's let the audience choose what they think is the best.
And so, if you're on the trails, take a picture. And you know what? Tag the Outdoor Club and put it on Facebook and showcase how beautiful it is up there. And, it could be a wildlife you see. It could be just the way the leaves or the tree branches are, whatever it is. If you see something beautiful and you document it in art, we want to see it.
And let's make sure that it originates in the watershed.
Amen.
So whether it's a picture taken outside looking into the watershed or the watershed looking out, let's keep it as the watershed area.
So speaking of pictures in the watershed, upcoming events include photography classes on the mountain.
We'll talk about that, because this time of year is a great time to do a lot of photography in early evening, even late night, because the skies are so clear and you can get some great shots at it. Your fingers will get a little cold, but it's well worth it if you'll spend the time.
I think that's a great idea. In fact, next week, Mike, let's make that part of our episode. Let's make it a segment, and what we'll do is we'll bring in our photography expert. Chip, you know anybody that might be a photography expert?
I think he's sitting here to the right of me.
No.
But
I'm not a pro by any means.
No, but you certainly can navigate the equipment. You've taught me several things, and my first photo shoot back in the summer for the fireworks, July 4th fireworks, fantastic. I have
we
some
were
great-
down in Riverside
Yeah,
Park,
yeah.
and we stayed for the fireworks, and I had mentioned to Chip that I would show him how to take pictures of the fireworks, and they really came out nice.
Yeah.
But and it's so worthwhile to do some nighttime shots. It's just amazing what you can get out there.
So we're going to have a new segment next Friday, and it's going to be Mike's Photography 101.
Yeah,
There you go.
And maybe, Mike, you'll give us... No, I'm talking
But, you know,
seriously. Give us a
Chip
couple of
has
tips.
taken some great shots in the past couple months, and I told him, don't put them out yet. Save them for the next contest.
How about that? There
And
you
that's
go.
why one of the reasons I think that we should open it up to more people choosing photographs, because so many people will bring a photograph up to me and ask me what I think of it. And I don't want to have that vision if I'm going to be asked to judge something. So let's get more people involved in that.
I think it's great. And, so many people. And, Mike, I remember when the contest was going on.
Adam's wife is a tremendous.
Indeed.
Adam
She
Hubbard's wife.
had some submissions in the Art on the Mountain contest. Beautiful stuff.
Oh, yes.
One of the things that I liked the most was that in today's technology, you don't have to go out and buy a $5,000 camera. I mean, you can if you want.
Is this a lead-in?
That's my. You can't hear that.
Oh, Chip, you got to put that closer to the
Yeah,
microphone.
Wait a minute. You better get that before YouTube hears it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh, don't.
The
Yeah,
algorithms.
that's right. They'll hear
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Can't do it.
Chip's phone's ringing, so that might be
If the audience doesn't know what we're talking about, nowadays when you're broadcasting anything on YouTube or Facebook or anywhere else, they have algorithms that if you're playing music in the background and it hears that as being a commercial tune, they will give you a warning on that. So we have to be very careful about music being played.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and we're always looking forward to the fact that one day that our podcast on YouTube is going to make money, and all that money,
Sure.
all those pennies will be
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to the Outdoor Club. But in wrapping up episode number 8, we're gonna
It's that time.
Yeah, we're gonna foreshadow
It is.
for episode 9. So coming up next
9.
week, we got 2 very special announcements. We're gonna start talking more and more.
I guarantee we'll have 3.
Three.
Oh, I like it.
3.
Well, the number one thing we're going to talk about next week is the upcoming very, very spectacular hike involving Chip. That is going to be
Epic.
And
world
that's not
famous.
one of the 3.
That's not one.
Oh, now we got 4.
We got 4.
now. See that? See
How about
we
that?
dismissed that? He made it another one. So.
And of course, we're going to have Mike. And Mike, you can say you're not an expert, but you're going to give us a little photography 101.
Sure.
Give us some
Sure.
tips on what to look for
Sure.
and maybe what to do when you're on the trails taking pictures. And number 3, is it a secret yet? Maybe? More to talk about coming up
Oh,
next
it's
week?
a secret.
All
it's
right.
a secret.
And that's great. That means for everyone
we
listening.
touched on it briefly earlier.
No doubt.
It's a
And
song too. Secret, secret. I got a secret.
okay, Chip, go back to answering the phone.
Okay. No problem.